HTC One X, HTC One S, they're both hero devices in their own way, according to HTC. But you know what we do in Phone Dog Land when we get two hot devices that both claim to be hero devices? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and it's time for a dogfight. Two great HTC devices as part of a new series. This is the HTC One X and the HTC One S, and both of these were announced at Mobile World Congress earlier in the year as part of a trio of new devices. There's the One X obviously here, the One S, and the One V, which obviously is not in the picture, kind of resembles the HTC Legend in terms of look and feel. So these are two awesome new HTC devices that are going to come out around the world. They're releasing now, and they're going to be available in the US in the next couple of months. This one on AT&T, this one on T-Mobile, but it's important to note that both of these in this video are global devices. So both of these are supporting global bands. You can get AT&T HSPA Plus on this one. You can get AT&T 3G on this one, provided that you're in an area that has 850 megahertz spectrum. In the Carolinas, AT&T operates 3G and 1900 megahertz, so I can't get 3G on this one. So just for sake of this video, I threw both of these on Wi-Fi, and if you watch my videos, you know I hate doing that. But I had to do that just to make it fair between the two because this one was on Wi-Fi and this one wasn't. But they're both on Wi-Fi now and connected to the same network. But before I get into that, special thanks to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this for use in our One Paw Bandit game, which you can play on the site and win free phones. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working with either of these devices. They'll help you set up your email, your web, or whatever it is you buy at Best Buy Mobile. In the phone department, they'll help you get your settings ready to go, your contacts all in your phone, your camera settings good to go. So when you walk out the door, you're working at Best Buy Mobile. Let's take a look at both of these. You got your One X here, and just to give you a rundown of the specs, and again, these are the global specs. The One X has a quad-core 1.5 gigahertz NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor over here. So it's a quad-core device, first quad-core device to be available in retail stores, although it's important to note that the one that's coming to AT&T is going to be a dual-core Snapdragon S4 CPU. So actually, the processor that's in this one is going to be the same one that's in the AT&T version of this device when it lands in the States. But just for sake of this video, 1.5 gigahertz quad-core NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor. It's got a 4.7-inch HD display, 720 by 1280 resolution here, so 720p display. You've got an 8-megapixel camera on the back with 1080p HD video. You'll notice there's a non-removable battery. It's a 1,800 milliamp hour battery. And take a look at the design of this device. Very thin, very light, very svelte, and that's what they were going for. According to the press conference at Mobile World Congress, they were really pushing a nice new design that really bridges the gap between, and I find this all too often with Android phones. They have great specs but horrible designs, or vice versa. They have great designs and terrible specs. We're trying to fuse both together with this, and they've done a pretty decent job. 4.7-inch display, like I said, front-facing camera, and it's packing Android 4.0, also known as Ice Cream Sandwich, with HTC Sense version 4, which you can see over here, and we'll dive into it a little bit in this video. Then you have the HTC One S over here, 1.5 gigahertz, dual-core Snapdragon S4 processor, a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED display, 8-megapixel camera on the back, with 1080p HD video recording, a 1,650 milliamp hour battery here, which is also non-removable, though you'll note the SIM card slot in this one is actually behind this little plastic cover. So it is a unibody construction, but it's not quite as unibody as the One X, which is kind of a little point of contention I have. This one just seems smooth, and the design is kind of flawless, whereas over here it's like beautiful and looks great, but then you get up here and it's kind of like, what is that? And it works well with the device for the most part, but you're going to notice that. So obviously the real difference is here. HD display over here, no HD display here, and then at least internationally, this one has a quad-core processor, this one has a dual-core Snapdragon S4. Now throw your preconceived notions with Snapdragon out the window, because I'll be the first to tell you, I walked into this thinking the S4 was going to be a lot like the S3. It's really not. Benchmarking has been fantastic on both of these, and it really depends, not to get too long-winded about this, but it really depends on what you're doing with the device. If you're doing gaming, you may be better off with the quad-core Tegra 3. If you're looking for overall speed boosts, you may be better off with the S4, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in part 2 when we do the speed test. But again, over here, 8-megapixel camera, front-facing camera, and also running Ice Cream Sandwich, so Android 4.0 with HTC Sense version 4. And you'll notice some minor changes. For example, we'll go in here and take a look at the menu, and you can see it's pretty similar across the board here. Where I see the differences, obviously little subtle things. You'll notice that both have 7 home screens, but you'll notice little color differences. You'll see green over here and blue over here. And I noticed a lot of those minor things as I was playing with both of these. And you'll also notice this little carousel thing that it does when I scroll between these two. You'll notice it does not do it over here. It just scrolls back and forth between them without actually any sort of carousel or animation effect over here. So that's a little bit of a difference. Also, you'll see up top your shortcuts, and this has been overhauled as part of Sense 4. If you really want to get an in-depth feel of this, take a look at my reviews of both of these devices. I don't want to spend too much time on that in the Dogfight, since this is obviously kind of a comparo between both of these devices and not necessarily Sense 4. But you've got some shortcuts up here. You got some pre-installed applications, although both of these are unlocked global versions, so you get 7 digital. You get Dropbox on both of these. You get HTC stuff like FriendStream, Gallery, HTC Hub on both of these. You get Google integration here, Google Plus and Google Plus Messenger. You get some HTC stuff here, PDF viewer, notes, people, of course. You get the personalized menu right here, and also you'll notice there's contacts over on the HTC One S, and it's people over here on the HTC One X. So again, just little things I like to point out that I find kind of unique. But otherwise, over here, some different stuff like TuneIn Radio, which you've got over here also, SoundHound on both of these devices, and that's it in terms of applications. Let's take a look at messaging, and I really want to show you this, and let me delete some of these messages. I apologize. Let's go ahead and delete and get rid of all of these. And we'll go into messages on both of these devices and take a look, because I really want to show you the screen real estate difference here with both of these. And we'll go ahead and compose, and we'll compose here. So same look and feel, and you can tell HD display over here, non-HD display over here, and you really notice it when you're dealing with a lot of color. I do notice a difference. The One X has a gorgeous display, and you know, not to say that the One S is bad at all by any means, and I actually find this one to be a little bit more pocketable than the One X. But if you're looking for a display, you do a lot of YouTube content, you do a lot of video stuff, music videos, whatever, you're probably going to be better off with the One X. If you're looking for something a little bit more pocketable, maybe a good texting and emailing machine, but something that fits a little bit better in the shorts, this will be probably a better device for you. But you can see here, both have the same new Sense 4 keyboard that you'll see on these newer devices. And again, portrait to landscape transitions are nice and fast. Despite having 2 different processors, both work relatively fast with little to no lag. And just to give you a quick overview of the design here, you've got a micro USB charging port over here. You have 3 buttons here. You've got your back, your home button, and then your recent apps button, which you can click on either one of these devices, and it'll bring up all of your recent applications over here. And then you can easily scroll through those and get rid of those if you desire. You can, for example, bam, get rid of messages, and you're out of messages. So it's nice to have that little shortcut over there. And then, of course, you have your Google search bar up here, and then of course available through your widgets, which you can easily access. So again, 7 home screens over here also. Let's go back into messages, compose, and show you what those look like. So obviously Super AMOLED display, beautiful black colors over here, HD display, so this is just beautiful all around, and it's a bigger display. So perhaps somebody that's moving up from a BlackBerry or something with a physical QWERTY keyboard may find more to like in this, just because it is a little bit easier to type on thanks to the larger display. So we'll come in here and say, and you get some great voice input as well. So I can say, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. And you can see it's automatically dictating my words. And it will do it as I talk. And it's not really doing it very well, but you get the idea. Same stuff over here, send, and then of course your ability to, it would do right hawk. I can say the fox is happy. And then of course same thing over here, you've got the voice search option. And then you have quick, that's an invalid recipient, quick brown fox is happy. So easy to do. On both of these devices, you can of course come in here and take advantage of Ice Cream Sandwich's ability to listen in just like that. So obviously that's a quick look at messaging. Let's go into browser on both of these, because again, it's down to the display and the way that the display looks. And you've got a 4.7-inch HD display over here, and you've got a 4.3-inch display over here. So we'll load up PhoneDog on both of these, and you can see it starting up. And you can really see here, this is where that screen real estate, you can really tell it's going to be maximized. And we'll wait for PhoneDog to load over here as well. It's taking its sweet time. Let's try that one more time and get PhoneDog to load over here. So PhoneDog's loaded up on both of these, and you can see pinch to zoom is very responsive on both. You've got the ability to pinch to zoom, and of course portrait to landscape, quick and easy. And you've got a nice transition effect in Ice Cream Sandwich, actually in Sense 4 now, as a part of Ice Cream Sandwich. Same thing over here. What you're really dealing with though is take a look at these up close and see the screen real estate difference. And you can see that obviously, even though it's a little bit larger, 4.7 over here as opposed to 4.3, you've really got some additional real estate to work with. Up here you can see your menu on both of these devices. Of course we can add tabs. So I'll click tabs on both, and I can easily scroll back and forth. So I can go into Instagram or go back to PhoneDog, and I can see all my different windows that are open. I can add a tab if I want to, and then go right back to PhoneDog and pick up where I left off. So pinch to zoom, relatively responsive on both of these devices. Browser department's great all around.